In my previous video, I spoke about what cybersecurity is, the the types of criminals out there, what methods they use to attack you. So, as a business owner, as a company, or as an individual, where do you start? What is the first step when you're looking at defending yourself against these cyber threats and these cyber criminals? The first step is risk management. So you need to look at a risk-based approach. So when looking at a risk-based approach, you probably need to look at the likelihood of that event occurring and the impact. So a good example of this is if you got an e-commerce website and your pure revenue relies on that website 100% uptime. What's the likelihood of that website going down? What if that website went down for an hour or 2 hours? What would the likely impact be on sales and your business operations? And you can say that would be pretty high. So that's what we mean by taking a risk-based approach, looking at what your business currently uses and then assigning a level of impact and the likelihood of occurring. This is to ensure that you achieve the right balance between risk management. So another thing that you want to consider when thinking about risk management is a situation involving exposure to danger. So understanding the threats facing your organization and the steps that can be taken to prevent, reduce, and prepare for possible situations that may or may not occur. So I would say the three main areas of risks are the human risk. So these are your employees who can be subjected to maybe scams, fraud, threats. Maybe they make some errors. So example of this, what I mentioned, a phishing email where cybercriminal socially engineers an email to obtain information. If your employees are not trained to look out for these emails and these threats, the likelihood is that they will get caught out, and that causes an element risk to your organization. Another element risk is natural risks, so floods, fires, and earthquakes, depending on where you are in the world. So if you're in the world where it's prone to flooding, that needs to become part of your cyber risk, because how quickly can you get up and running? What if your server is based in your building? So if it is flood and your server gets flooded, that means maybe your operations aren't working. Maybe that's where your backup server is. So you maybe need to look at other methods of maybe, keeping that server somewhere else where it's not likelihood to have that problem. Again, you will level what's the likelihood of that flood occurring, that natural disaster occurring, and the level of impact it will have on your organization. The other impact is technical risks. What's the chances of the software you're using failing? If you're using a CRM system which is cloud-based, what's the chances of that software failing? What if that company got hacked? What data are you hosting on there? How quickly, what is the major impact that would have on your business? What if you had hardware failure with your laptops and your devices, or even your server? What is the likely impact that would have on you? Can you quickly get a laptop up and running? Are you able to get all the applications straight away on your laptop so you can just continue working as normal? Is that going to cause an impact of maybe half a day's loss of work? So you can see how to maybe benchmark some of your level of risk with some of those examples. Now, finally, what are the benefits of risk management? So it helps you to make, as a business, better decision making. So you understand the element of risk that is exposed in each of your areas. So your people, what training do they need? What applications do they need access to? each of those applications, what is the risk if they weren't going to work. Helps decision making to delegate throughout your organization while maintaining appropriate board level oversight. If you have a risk management strategy and you're aware of it, your board are aware of what's going on in your organization, and you can also determine what the appetite of risk is. Are we okay to have that server in our building? The chances of this flooding is very unlikely. Chances of a fire happening is very unlikely. But if it does happen, we have a solution. We have a backup cloud server somewhere else, or we've got a server in another premises, which is very unlikely that both buildings will flood at the same time. Also sets the foundation for you to adapt to threats and opportunities that may emerge. So new cyber threats, new errors, or new employees while you grow. What training you need to apply in from those phishing emails, from those scams, to understand how to use systems more securely, and so on.